Hello, 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 hello. This is my new project. It is called the Ego Dissolution Funnel, and it is acrylic on cardboard. And I just hung it up like this so that I can work better on it. I'm working on the yellow contours right now, and this is awesome. This paint is thickened, but I have new yellow paint to make it fresh. Okay, this is a figure here. This stands up this way. This hangs down, this figure. It actually hangs from some kind of palm tree or rainforest tree in the very top of the tree, like hundreds of feet high. The story behind this is the woman fell out of an airplane way up in the stratosphere. And she dwindles down, has a heart attack as she's falling, and her body falls into the top branches of a tree and just dangles down, just hangs there like a doll. I had that vision that was initiated by different things, including several movies actually, and that had to do with airplane catastrophes, and it had to do with me being depressed because I don't have these kind of thoughts when I feel good. And it had to do with who am I, what is my identity. And it has to do with art and beauty, and what is beauty. You know, this kind of like borders on violence, because it is a violent event when an airplane doesn't function anymore, and when things go wrong and people get ejected out of the airplane and fall down into a jungle where they would never be able to survive on their own, or only very, very rare people will be able to do this. And I don't know, it's some kind of fascination that I have with the last pieces of Earth that are still wild, that haven't been affected by pollution yet, and yet, you know, people are working hard on polluting and destroying everything and clear cutting the Amazon rainforest and all of this. So the woman falling out of the airplane, I don't know what her story is, or whether she was a good person or not, whether she supported the logging of the Amazon rainforest, but it is a representation of a civilized human who is traveling probably somewhere to go on vacation, you know, to spend her hard-earned money that she worked for in a corporation that is part of the destruction cycle. So her falling down there is just one depiction of a civilized human who is also indirectly responsible for the logging of the Amazon rainforest, unless she's an environmentalist. Then it's a different story. Then it would not be so great to portray her falling into the tree and hanging there, because then she was part of making the world a better place. Then that would be very, very sad. It's always sad. The whole thing is sad if you look at it from a wider angle, of course. All beings are ultimately, that's why I don't want to be misunderstood with this. All beings are ultimately innocent in a looking at it from a very, very wider angle, from way above, from light years away, then you can really see, how we are a tragic mammal, a very tragic mammal, a tragic animal. The human is a tragic animal, the most tragic animal that exists, that has ever existed on this planet. More tragic than dinosaurs, velociraptors. Much more tragic. Because of the destruction they're causing. The velociraptors, they have not caused their own demise. But people are. Humans are. And they do it out of ignorance. The lady falling out, working for Monsanto her whole life. I can create an entire film out of this theme. Totally oblivious to who she has been working for. Creating pesticides, causing mass extinction on this planet. In her leather shoes made from cows that had suffered, and pigs that horribly suffered, and she has no idea what's going on behind those walls. She likes her leather purse and her leather shoes and belts and accessories. And she wants to be like every other woman in Hollywood. And in the meantime, she's working for Monsanto and causing destruction to this whole planet, but not knowing about it. People will tell her, maybe people will warn her, but she is not tuned in, not tapped into it. She may have been kept down by religion, kept unempowered by her religious community. That works hand in hand with the corporate agenda. Don't think for a second that the corporate agenda doesn't stop before religion. They utilize religion. That's their main brainwashing tool. They use the brainwash that already exists and rub some more things into it. And people will buy into it. They will go, oh yeah, they're our peer group. How do they say that? She is one of us, or he is one of us. That's what I hear them say. Or he is not one of us. Beware. So that's what the corporate agenda uses. So they will tell you, your religion embraces destruction of the environment, you better be on board of that. You better be on board with the oil industry and those kind of things. Not directly in those words, but that is what they're doing. Okay, people need to become aware about it. You know, when someone slanders Hillary Clinton, and I see so many people that are totally taken by that propaganda. So many. Even intelligent people are taken by that. Even friends of mine are taken by that. Friends who I thought were really smart. And then later on we had a more in-depth discussion on one of our hikes. And that one lady very strong environmentalist, didn't even know what NAFTA is actually all about. Because it has never been portrayed to you. Those things appear in documentary films that are marginalized, that are not made sexy to the public, rather kind of bland, you know, kind of bland economy documentaries, where this thing is being explained, but no one goes there. It's not interesting to the public. And it is deliberately kept marginalized. Deliberately. The corporate agenda, they really know how to sell you something. Whether it is slander against a politician, whatever. They slandered Al Gore too. They slandered Bill Clinton. They slandered Donald Trump. They even slandered the Humane Society, believe it or not. They slander PETA. They use contradictions in the same sentence. They like animals more than people. And in the same sentence, just without stop and comma, okay, they go on to say that they kill more animals than any other organization. So it's like, what are you trying to say? Are you saying A or are you saying B? And both statements are false. Okay? Maybe there are some people among us who like animals better than humans, and I see a lot of people liking animals better than humans. Why is that? We should ask the question. We should question. We should really confront ourselves with this. Why is that? Maybe the animals aren't exploiting this planet, yes? Maybe they're full of love. Maybe they teach us unconditional love. Maybe that's why. Okay. So, but you know, not everyone in PETA is like this or like that group, or this or that particular creed or, you know, belief system. No, animal rights people come in from all walks of life. You know, I said it before. We're not a group. It's just PETA is an organization to bring awareness to the public on these issues of factory farming, what goes on behind the walls. Okay, the corporations don't like that naturally, yeah. Don't be surprised that they slander them. They don't like them being exposed. They don't want people to quit eating meat. They want to keep their production line going. That's all they're interested in. They're interested in profit maximization, whether the pigs are screaming in terror and suffering in agony, they're not interested in that. PETA sheds a light on it. That's what they're all about. Okay? That's why they became also very famous, and they became the largest animal rights organization in the world. Because they have done massive work on a very large scale. and such important work. They have moved animal rights, animal protection, changing, making the laws better. They have moved that so much forward like no other group in the world. Okay, that's why they're hated by the corporate agenda. The religious people, ignorant, not knowing about this, they will buy into the corporate agenda because the corporate agenda presents their hate against Peter as their form of religion, as their republicanism, as their right-wing peer group. So people they will go with, they'll latch on to anything. It could be eating little 3-year-old girls as dessert, if that was presented to them as their form of religion, a lot of people would latch onto it in the same way. You see it in the Muslim world. It wouldn't matter what is presented to them, no matter how much violence is presented to them, and they latch onto it because it's their peer group, because it's their religion, because they have been brainwashed into it. They also have been threatened into it on top of it. They get punished if they don't adhere to it. It takes a lot of soul. It takes a lot of compassion and kindness and selflessness to go against that in the Middle East. It doesn't take that much selflessness here in the Western world. Here you're not going to be punished for leaving your religion, for saying this is a crock of bullshit. Okay? It doesn't take that much. You're not going to get your arms cut off as in the Middle East. So let's not get it to the point where it is in the Middle East with any religion, with any fascist dictation. Okay, any. I say any. It could also be of non-metaphysical character. It could be also of scientific character or austere materialist character or of determinist character or whatever their thought school is that they have come from. Okay? We don't want fascism. We don't want dictation. So don't allow the dictation from the religious world either, from the metaphysical world either. We can be metaphysical. I am metaphysical, very much so. But don't make that into a religion. Don't make this into a fascism. If someone else has a different, my husband is an atheist. We have very, very different views on the world. I sometimes shake my head over him. He shakes his head over me. But we're not going to fight over those kind of things. We fight sometimes over how things are going to be done and organized. It is a bit annoying sometimes, but not over the religious worldview type of thing. That's not something to fight or hit your head against or kill someone for. No, absolutely not. Because when you do this, then you are a complete brain-mind fascist. And you are forcing other people with violence to conform to your views. And that doesn't even have anything to do anymore with religion itself. That's plain ego, okay? Because the ego hooks onto the religion like this, like a Lego piece, and glued in with crazy glue. And so anyone who comes and knocks that off in one sentence with reason, they're going to hate that person. They want to kill him. That's fascism, and that is extreme violence. That can also be done in words. I get it all the time from people. Okay. Be careful not to take sides, because the moment you take sides, you are adhering to fascism. whichever side that comes from. The Muslims are extremely fascist. They just want people to know this. And so is Glenn Beck, okay, and all these other people. Extremely fascist. Alex Jones is a little bit better, but also terribly flawed. We all are. I love Alex Jones. I love this person. I feel sorry for him, kind of. I kind of feel for him. I have compassion for him. I can feel compassion for the mammal Alex. The mammal Alex. Because Alex has self-humor. That's a very rare character trait. And it is fun to have self-humor. It's wonderful. And I love people like this. I just love it. I don't agree with him on everything. I don't agree with anyone on everything. So, for example, that Cenk Uygur has no self-humor at all. He comes from the Muslim world, where I haven't seen any self-humor in those people at all. They have no humor. He's fat just like Alex Jones, and one time they even fought with each other on the street. It was like two fat bags banging against each other. Alex Jones, however, thought that was amusing as he was engaged in that. Cenk Uygur did not think that was amusing. That's the difference, okay? I love people who have self-humor. I do not take sides when it is when it has to do with a comparison between football team A and football team B that was equally ridiculous, in my opinion. I don't like sports. Or if it's shit and diarrhea, which one do you want to take? It's like, no, I'm not interested. To me, this is all shit and diarrhea. That is what religion is to me. It is fascist shit. That's what it is. And it shall not ever be supported. Never support that. Don't take sides when it comes to that kind of. If I'm asked to take sides between a dog who has been beaten by a man, I will take the side of the dog against the man who's beating. This goes without saying, of course. And I will do everything, absolutely everything in this moment to protect that dog. And even if it means I will have to, in a fight with that man, I will have to do that guy in. So I will. And I have what it takes to do that, believe me. I have that mental and that physical capacity to do that. So overall, I think it is better to talk, to have an open conversation, and not be dabbling with people's act-outs, with their horrendously violent act-outs against other living beings. Not be having to get into physical fights and the policing and the patrolling, and it's all important, but what's much more important, and that's what the Buddhists have always been saying, is that we get into an open-minded conversation about things, and that we teach by example, and that we engage people into meditation and into psychology and into introspection and into finding out who they really are, where they're coming from, what's going on, why are you violent? Is it your childhood? Yes, it is, 100%. Okay, in all of us. We act it out differently, but people who are violent, they are violent because of their childhood. They have been violated. So their way of acting it out is by believing, and that's the ego, by believing that if they can violate someone else, then they are somehow safe. But the opposite is the case. But that is what they believe. They don't realize in that moment, they're too detached. They don't realize in that moment that they are the animal that they are beating. Okay. On all respects, you know. There is no dualism. There's no you or me or this. We are all made out of the same materials. We all suffer. We all feel the same things. We all have been violated. I am you and you are me. No dualism. I am the dog. The dog is me. Feels the same way. The pig feels the same way. I watched the TED presentation by two beautiful friends from Canada who have rescued a pink pig when she was a baby. Someone rescued her. Some good Samaritan rescued her. And they asked them if they wanted the pig. They agreed. They were only living in an apartment, but Esther was growing, and then they realized that she was actually a very large white pig. And I think she weighs over 600 pounds. So a beautiful, beautiful being, extremely intelligent. They showed the most amazing, lovely photos of her. It just made my tears stream the whole time I was watching this TED presentation. Just the whole time I was crying. And then they showed, I will put the link under this video if I can get to it. I've already put something else now on my clipboard, but maybe I can find this presentation again and put the link underneath. Or you just put in Esther the Wonder Pig TED Talk and then it will come up. And they have the most amazing photos of Esther growing up and her intelligent face and curiosity and love and the way she plays with the dogs and the way she figures everything out, you know, and very smart. They're very smart animals. They have a lot of cognition. There was a pig once there was a fire in a cow barn somewhere out there where it gets really cold, like Minnesota or something. And the pig was outside, and the pig saw this barn, and she knew that her cow friends are in there. Or he, I don't know what. I think it was a he. And he knew that his cow friends were in there, and there was a fire breaking. He understood fire, dangerous. He understood that his friends were at risk. This is cognitive thinking, okay? So he went over there, and he opened the barn door that had a latch on it. It was quite complicated. He opened that with his mouth and nose. He figured out how to. Oh, he has also watched people open that. So he opened that in a frenzy, and he let the cows out and saved their lives. So that is what pigs are able to do. They are smart and they are deeply caring, deeply compassionate beings. So don't eat those anymore. Don't eat any more pigs. That's worse than eating humans. That's as bad as eating dogs. which they are doing in the Asian countries. It's a horrible, horrible cannibalism, what's going on there. Absolutely horrible. Quit all meat. Quit all meat. Quit eating animals. That's the first step. That's the first step in the right direction. Do it for the animals. That is my appeal to the world. Do it for them. Don't be part of this anymore. Don't be part of this with your money. Even if you get it for free, say no to it. Don't be part of this anymore. It's important to become aware. Become aware who is who. Why are they promoting certain things? Why are they slandering certain people? Become aware about it. Where's the money trail going? To whose bank account is the money trail going? Not to the environmentalists and not to the animal rights activists, that's for sure. Matter of fact is, because of the contents of my videos, there's no chance that I could ever become in any way commercial with my videos. I could never make any kind of money. That would never be regarded as videos to be supported by any kind of corporation, or because it's the corporations that are exploit, that are running this planet, that are also running the initially well-meant websites like YouTube and Google. They have hijacked, they have gotten in, and that is the case. That was also the case with the Green Party, of course, and that is certainly the case with Greenpeace. You know, the corporate people have gotten in. They have their filaments in it, and they are basically running it into a ruin now. It goes so far, it went so far with Greenpeace that, you know, Greenpeace was founded by Paul Watson, who has put his body over the baby seals to protect them with his own body. That was during his Greenpeace time. Greenpeace then later on was more and more people coming in, you know, random people. They weren't even selected, you know. We accept all, you know, come in, and kind of like what they're doing with the refugees now. Come in, and then the psychopaths among them, they're like a fungus. No? They ruin that country. They ruin the organization from the inside out. But people brought them in, saying, "Yeah, we are democratic, and yes, all well meant," but Paul Watson learned his lesson from that. So you cannot, unfortunately, run an organization democratically, because the wrong people come in and they all take over and they all kick you, the founder, out. That is what Paul Watson experienced. And now it went to the point where even Paul Watson was so shocked about this. He said he didn't realize that he would experience this during his lifetime, to see what Greenpeace are actually doing now with that organization that he had originally founded. They are now going against all of the core principles. They breach all of those core principles that he has implemented in that organization. The core principles of protecting the whales, the principles of interfering as a bear mother, of protecting the baby seal. So they're going against all of this now. They say it's okay for the Inuits to butcher the baby seals, and they call it culture. It is not okay for the Inuits to do it. It's not okay for anyone to do it. Okay, and using the culture reasoning is just a corporate excuse. That's a loophole. That's all it is, and that is horrific. Okay, absolutely horrific. No one has the right to kill a baby seal, okay, to make a fur coat out of it. No one. You can make fantastic fur coats out of fossil fuels, or out of even recycled fossil fuels and plastics. That'd be even better. You do not need to butcher a baby seal, an innocent baby seal in front of the mother. You do not need to do this. I don't know if people are aware where this fur comes from. I don't know if they are aware, and if they are, do they actually see it? Do they actually feel it? What do they see and what do they feel inside when they see this? I mean, does this register anything with you? Or I don't know. This is the worst atrocity there is, or what they do with bears. That's the worst thing I've ever heard about, what they do with bear when they harvest bear gallbladder fluid. They hook bears up permanently on catheters that go into their gallbladders. They're permanently hooked up on this in laboratories. There was a mother with a baby. She knew that her baby was going to be awaiting this kind of situation himself. And she couldn't take it. That's how far cognitive they are. She could not stand that idea of continuing living in this laboratory where there was no way out. She bit the main blood vessels of the baby open, I think the aorta, let the baby bleed to death. And then she bit her own blood vessels in her arms, and they both bled to death. That's the worst thing I have ever heard. Okay, the worst. Now, people need to be aware that this kind of suffering on this magnitude is happening in the world. Okay, the world is not a positive, relative, it's all well, whatever people say, it's a beautiful world, the song or whatever. It's not. Okay? Absolutely not. It is brutally, it is, no words can even describe this. It is monstrous. That's what it is. It's monstrous what people are doing. Slaughtering of puppy dogs in Indonesia and torturing them alive with blow torches. It's like it is unbelievably horrific. Wake up, man. Wake up to it. Wake up and do something about it. Do something. Help us. Help the animals. Do something about it on your own. You're not going to be praised for this. Do it for the animals. Stand up against it. Speak out. That's the least you can do in a chat room. Speak out against it. Bring awareness to the things that are going wrong. And speak out. And do something about it. And collect signatures if you can. Let's give animals personhood rights so that we can finally do something about these things. That we can finally implement better law enforcement. Because how can we do law enforcement if we don't have the rights there present that will enable that kind of law enforcement? Speak out. That is my message for the world. Because I deeply care. I deeply care. I cry every day. And then Greenpeace even, and that is what Paul Watson said, they even turned on the whales. They even went ahead with the Japanese whale hunters and said, and gave them an okay. And made it into some kind of culture thing again. So the culture loophole. Yeah. Or the dolphin butchering in Taiji. An atrocity beyond imagination. Speak out against it. The more people speak out, the more will be done. That's a fact. And online petitions, they work. We have changed entire laws worldwide with our signatures. That's a lazy cop-out excuse to say, I don't sign online petitions. I hear people always say this. They work wonders. If you don't sign, then how can we expect anyone to sign, right? At least you sign it. Even if no one else signed, at least you did. So that's how we have to look at the world. At least I make videos and bring this to public attention. And there are some other people who do it. And at least we do it. We say something. We put ourselves out there for ridicule and for public shaming and for, not only do you not get rewarded, you get hated for it. But, you know, it's all worth it for me. If I can help the animals that way, if I can bring awareness to the world, I gladly take some bullying for it. I give my life, if I have to save the animals. I give my life, gladly, if that helps. So this here, the woman hanging over the tree, is sort of like, it's kind of like also me. It's, you know, I'm sacrificing myself for the world. I see that I'm not that important. Here's a body that I'm in. It's not that, you know, the me is not that important. I love my body. I very much love my body. But it's not like, it's not me above others. It's not, you know, that's not what it is. It's not ego based. I have ego too, but I have become very aware. My mother bear instinct is much bigger than my image or my gratifications or money or praise or whatever. Mother bear instinct, much more important. My love is much more important. The oxytocin, you know, the need to help, the need to be there for others. I'm there for others. Okay. I am here. I give myself to you. I wish I could. I wished I could convey this to the world. What that feels like, what it means. At the same time, I love my body like an animal. Like, you know, my body is an animal too. We are all animals. We need love. We need self-love. We need self-humor. We need to not take ourselves seriously, particularly not our mental accomplishments or all of this. the me, the the I concept is not that important. My body is important, precious, yeah, but I put the other, the animal, above me. I put this before me. I am there for the other living being. I offer my body for that rescue initiative. Okay. I don't know if I convey this with that, but that's how it works. That's what love is. That is what infinite love is. Unconditional love is. That's mother love. And Paul Watson has that mother love in him. And Pamela Anderson and Ingrid Newkirk and Peter Hammerstedt, just to name 4. And that is marvelous. And I love men like Paul Watson. I'm extremely attracted on all levels to Paul Watson. To me, he is an amazing being. Amazing. I love this man. I'm in love with this man. Really in love. And that's good. It's wonderful. And he's happy, and he has a wife, and she is a wonderful being too. And an animal rights activist too, and beautiful and young. And I'm happy for them, I'm very happy for them. And they decided to have a child, and even as an anti-natalist, I'm happy for them. And I'm happy I had some fights with other anti-natalists on Facebook over this. Because they're obviously, they don't even want them to have a child. So they call them hypocrites and all of that. No, Paul Watson is not a hypocrite. He said he wants people that are caring to have a child. We want to proliferate that gene of kindness and caring. Or the caring people will die out, maybe. Then you will end up with total anarchy and we'll roll the time back by 5,000 years. I don't know. It's up to you. My message to people who are not well psychologically is do not have children. I didn't. I didn't feel psychologically well enough to be a good mother. I probably would have been a good mother. A lot of people told me that also. My mother even made fun of me for being a bear mother. She called me mother hen. But it's just the trauma that I have experienced from my cold mother. She's not a cold person, but she was cold to me because she's not well. She's psychologically not well. So, and she is also very traumatized. And she refused to do therapy. She refused to do work on herself. She even got mad at me for suggesting that. So I'm just saying the truth here. I love my mother, I care about her, but I'm saying the truth. And because of her, I didn't want kids. I was terrified of that idea. Just the idea that I could make the same mistakes with my child as she did with me. So I didn't want another one. to suffer. But Paul Watson and his wife, they are stellar people. They are truly loving people. And for them to have a baby, that's I think that's marvelous. I don't know if that baby is born into a harsh world, yes, and all of this, but into a family that is deeply loving and caring, and that's wonderful. Like Bindi Irwin and Robert. That's wonderful. So there are a handful of good people in this world. And that's wonderful to see that. And a lot of responsibility lies on their shoulders. But it does on all of our shoulders, but most people don't. They don't act on that at all, on that responsibility. They don't feel it. And that's why the people who care, that's why we even have more responsibility. We have to be responsible for others as well. And I don't, I get mad sometimes, but then I look at it again from above, from the wider angle, from the very wide angle. And I see that the people who are not acting responsibly, they are not on that level. They are not on that intelligence, intellectual, educational, mind freedom, empowerment level. They're not on the level of compassion. They don't feel it. They're overridden by self-aggrandization, by the self-image, the ego, the me, the I. That's the only thing that they can think of, because they feel so unempowered. So they feel like they have to propagate themselves on every level. And in that process, they don't see the other living being. They only see what's in it for them in that moment. And so monkeys are that way, okay? And they don't do as much damage because they don't have the tools available to them that we humans have. So, but it is, most humans are human monkeys. And that's a fact, okay? We are, the chimpanzees is our closest relative. Okay, we share like 98% of the DNA with them. That's a tremendously high percentage. So that's how closely related we are to them. And there is vast differences, almost to that level, among humans, between humans. That's why I'm always saying, the human species is, they are so diverse that they can anytime zip into two different species. It can happen at any time. Don't let the ego now attach itself to that statement and go and ride away and shoot away or rocket away with that and say, racist, racist, racist. I didn't even talk about race. So people who say these things, they give away their own racism. And they give away their own unempowerment feelings that they have in regards to their own race. I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about the human species in general. Okay? There are vast differences among us. Vast. And this is a fact, okay? Vast differences among among the different ethnic groups within one ethnic group. You know, it's not just between between the ethnicities, but within one ethnic group, there are such vast differences. I mean, it's insane. So when the human splits into two, that's not going to be happening because of race. That's not going to be race-based. That's going to be based on compassion, being a decent person, being someone who is there for others, someone who is eager to get educated, versus someone who is driven by self and driven by self-images, entitlement, violence, and so on. That's where it zips apart. Basically, between the brute and the decent person. We split into brutes and decent people. So that's what's going to happen. Eventually, probably going to happen. And then the brutes will say, they will blame everything on the decent people and say, the decent people are working on us like a rug. And they are running the show, and there, and there, and there, and there. But they don't look at themselves. Why are they where they are? What have they done themselves to get themselves into those situations? Is it not because they have been violent to others? Okay, if you want a cake and eat it too, then don't eat the cake. That is basically what I'm trying to say. Take a little bit more responsibility then for how your life shapes itself, because you are the one in charge of your life. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I hope that instead of making you mad, I hope that you can step back from the big picture and look at it from above and see where your problems are. And don't go in that ego act out direction anymore. Don't walk towards the cliff anymore, any further. Okay, stand still, make a U-turn, come back out of that maze garden, out of the dead-end street. Come back out of it. Introspect, you know, and see where your problems, your faults are. How you have ridden yourself into that situation, and change your approach to it. Become more kind, more decent. And if your mind is so wrapped up with violence and hate and all of this, then it is time for you to get into a therapy program, to do something about it. I have done it. I have gone into many therapy programs, but most people don't even see that there is a problem. They don't even see that, but they have to encounter the hard wall. We cannot be catering to them anymore, hand and foot. We can't roll the red carpet out for them anymore. They need to encounter their own issues. Or how can they heal? How can they make it better? How can they change their approach if we cater to them and say that's their culture, or that is this or there, you gotta hold the other cheek? No, that doesn't help anyone. You need to speak out where you see a problem, whether that is culture-based or excused, or whatever the reason is. Violence, ego, whatever. You have to speak out against violence. You have to speak out against your own violence. You have to question yourselves. And then things can heal. Then you can heal. Okay? Go away from the danger. And stop doing what hurts you and start doing what heals you. That's what Dr. Richard Schultz has been saying all along. And that's on every level. It's so important that people understand this. Don't cater to it anymore. And even if you see other people doing, doing the collective unempowerment, and they collectively facilitate each other's unempowerment feeling, and collectively rant and rave against another group or something, observe that with sharp ego eyes and say, no more, I'm not going to be part of this anymore. Whoever you're part of, whether it is the neo-Nazis or the Black Panther or any group or ISIS, I don't care what group it is. Realize that you cannot be part of this anymore, of the collective unempowerment. Don't be part of this anymore. Stand strong and on your own. Walk away from it. Try to figure, and if that is difficult to do, then try to figure out through researching how you safely can get away from that, so you don't endanger your own body by doing this. And sometimes in gangs that is a dangerous thing, to stand up against the group. In general, it causes anything from being bullied to being physically hurt. But in order to make the world better, you have that responsibility to say no to violence and not be part of this anymore, okay? You guys take care. Peace out.